Hey everyone, hello. In today's video, I'm talking about, is the American dream in America? I know you've seen the title, you're like, what is this? What's going on? Why would he name it that? I'm gonna break it down for you and explain in great detail why I've titled it this way and what my belief system is when it comes to this question. Now, first of all, as someone who's been to 16 countries or so, I'm here to tell you that you can find a sense of happiness and home wherever you go. I'm not here to force my beliefs on anyone, and if you feel like in your heart you found happiness, you found success, you and your family and friends are doing great, I respect that to you, no matter where you're at in the world or what your dreams are. As long as you're not hurting anyone, you're doing things the right way, right? You staying positive. For me personally, I titled this video, Is the American Dream in America? And the reason why I say that is because I personally love traveling, right? But I didn't know how big it was for other people until I started getting into this space. So I started making up YouTube videos about a year ago, last October, right? So a year and 1 month, year and 2 months. I'm fresh in the game, but I noticed a trend, right? I started recording because I love traveling and I was gonna leave the States. But now the algorithm is showing me other people in this lane, and I bring it up to my friends offline, and I realize the correlation between what I see online and then the interactions I'm having offline. And I'm like, wow, this is only getting bigger. Like, people truly want to leave the United States. I thought I was kind of like on some solo stuff for the longest. I brought it up to some friends and family members. They like, yo, I'm thinking about going to Greece. Or, yo, I'm thinking about going here. I'm like, oh, so I'm not alone in thinking this. Like, there are other people like this, right? So it made me question, is the American dream still in America? Typically coming up, as a kid, you would hear stories now and again about people leaving, maybe when they retire. But now you're seeing people do it at a younger and younger age. You don't need to be 65 or 70 to take your money, live abroad, etc. Some people are starting with little to no money, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, and they're taking their life abroad, and they're taking advantage of the currency arbitrage and the potential opportunities that could be there. They feel dissatisfied in America. So I present the question to you, and I want to know your honest opinion. Leave it in the comment section. Is the American dream still in America? Me personally, I love America. I feel like this is where you can make money, you become successful. There's opportunities everywhere, online, offline, sports, entertainment, music. I feel like no other country in the world has the entertainment, music, sports, etc. arena like we do. Yeah, you can be famous in social media in Italy. Yeah, you can play basketball for, I don't know, the Toronto Raptors, or yeah, in Brazil you could run a Instagram agency. You can, but typically speaking, these things are more profitable in the United States. So I'm not saying anything negative as far as the States, because I'm very happy for my position. I'm just bringing some things to the light that may help you and your people make your decision, and I'm just sharing my viewpoint. But I do definitely want to know your viewpoint. But for me personally, growing up, seeing everything as far as people relocating, this and that, and such, etc., it's becoming more emerging, right? So I was like, yo, I thought about it for the longest, like, man, what are people going to think about me if I leave the States? What are my friends, family members going to think about me? Is my life going to be the same? Am I making a mistake, etc.? All these things entered my mind. I'm being vulnerable with y'all right now. All these things entered my mind at one point, and I thought about it. I'm like, it's my life. I got to make the best decision for me and then my future generations. It's great that I have the American passport, the American stamp, but to truly take my life to the next level, I can get citizenship somewhere else, right? So that's how I'm looking at it. The main motivating factor for me was the food. For the people who have watched my previous video, you heard me hint at this, but I never said it directly, so I'm just gonna say it now. I had a condition that was called gastritis, right? And basically what that is, I'll summarize it for you. It's like you have stomach inflammation. So I'd wake up every day and I'd have pain in my lower abdomen area. And like some days I'd wake up just like crying because I didn't know what to do, because the pain was so intense. Now, certain moments it was more harder than others, like, kind of come and go, sometimes more intense, less intense, maybe medium. But over time, I kept like this condition, right? And I didn't have money to go to the hospital. I'm like, why am I living like this as an adult? But eventually I got some money to go to the hospital, etc., and also got help as well. And that's when I got my condition. And I was asking the doctor, because they had to do several tests, like x-rays. I think they did MRI. I don't think so. But it was like probably 5 different tests before they finally came to a conclusion. And the thing is, I'm asking my doctor, what causes this? And the doctor couldn't give me a 100% clear answer. So that like shaped my mind and my personality and viewpoint, outlook on life. I'm like, what's going on here? You're a doctor, you specialize in this field, and you can't give me a definite answer? He told me what he believes caused it, but he couldn't say with 100% confidence. So I'm like, what is the point of taking all those tests, paying all these thousands of dollars to go to the hospital, to get these scans, to get these x-rays, to do this, do that, blah, 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 change my eating habits. Oh, you can't eat 48 hours before you come, starve myself, just to do all these weird stuff and not get a 100% definite answer. So that's when my mind opened up. I started looking at other countries like, okay, maybe America is not as strong when it comes to the healthcare as I thought. But basically, what he says he believes called it was diet and lifestyle. So I was a fairly active person, and I thought I was eating fairly healthy, but I guess I wasn't, right? And that's when I started doing my research on the healthcare industry here, but also the food and cuisine. And I also noticed, like, hey, when I go to other countries, I feel better. My hair's longer, my skin's clearer, I'm sleeping better, I'm stronger, I got more energy. And I found out, it's in the food. So tying this back to the video, it made me realize I don't see myself in America long term. Initially, I was concerned about what people thought about me, what my family would think about me, what my friends, associates, coworkers, whatever. I'm like, man, kind of has a negative stigma if you leave the country, especially if you meet another woman in another country, right? Which, love should be love, right? But I kind of has a negative stigma to it. But long story short, it made me realize, like, okay, I don't think this is for me, right? So once I made that decision, I got to the point mentally where I was like, okay, I don't really care too much about what people think. This is my life. I have to do what's best for me. And what's best for me is to look at life outside of the States because of mainly what we put in our bodies. Even when you eat healthy out here, it's not as healthy as you may think. So, is the American dream still in America? For me personally, it can exist in America, but you just have to take a lot of steps. I have a family member that lives somewhere where there's a lot of farmers markets, right? A lot of farmers markets. Like here in Las Vegas, I live in Las Vegas for those who don't know. That's why you see the desert background. We do farmers market out here, but it's like once a week, right? I have a family member who lives in another state, and they have farmer markets every day. It's open like a real store. Every day you can get fresh fruits, fresh veggies, fresh fruits, fresh veggies, every day, right? So if you have something like that, and then let's say maybe you have a local butcher or someone who has some produce that you're buying from locally sourced, that you trust this person, they don't put any chemicals, any funny stuff in the ground, they don't mix it up to try to make it last longer, it's not miscolored. If you have connections like that, right? I met some farmers out here, right? They was telling me, hey, if I pay them X amount of dollars, they can ship it to me, or I can go to them and pick it up. If you have connections like that where you're able to get real fruits, real vegetables, real poultry, maybe you can grow your own, then that makes sense from a health perspective. Now you just got to get the money, which typically the currency in America is pretty strong. You can live somewhere affordable. Not everywhere is expensive. There's still a lot of places in the Midwest where you can get a nice sized house for like $200 or under, right? So it's not just like Las Vegas where it's $500,000 or California where it's 1.2 mil, etc. There are some affordable places out there, and you can find some local people. So in that sense, I wouldn't say it's completely dead, because it's still affordable in certain areas, and it's still possible to eat clean. It's a little more challenging, but it's possible, right? But for me personally, even though I say the American dream is still in America, for me personally, not for everyone, just for me personally, it's not for me, because if I have to do all that mental gymnastics just to eat clean, just to do this, blah, 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 worry about all these things. There's certain things, smaller things, maybe systematic racism, people fighting each other, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of smaller for me on the sense of I believe that we're kind of like cattle, right? To certain people, if you get what I'm saying. So, with that being said, I kind of feel powerless here, so I want to change my life to feel more powerful. So, I'm not going to do all these mental gymnastics just to eat clean. I'd rather just go to a country where I can eat clean, and then what if I make USD, like the same dollar amount I'm making in America, but I live in a country, not only is the food more affordable and cleaner, because cleaner is the main thing, but the cost of living over there is cleaner. What if I live in a place like Thailand where I can rent a high rise for $500 a month? What if I live in Malaysia, same price point? Vietnam, about 10% cheaper. Cambodia, about the same price point. There's many options out there. If you want to stay in the Americas because you like the time zone, or maybe you don't want to be too far from your family, maybe you can look at Mexico. Maybe you can look at Panama, right? There's a lot of options out there. But for me personally, I have decided my American dream is not in America. So I am exploring other options. For the people who are interested in exploring other options with me, or you can say through me, hit the like, comment, and subscribe. You click this video for a reason, and I'm here to provide a service for you. Maybe you don't have the financial resources to travel quite yet, so instead of you physically traveling, you can watch me, which is going to save you money, because you can see me make the mistakes. You can see me learn. You can see me go through these things. I'm going to be going to different countries all around the world, and I'm going to be asking the questions, right? Is this a place where we can live? Is this place affordable? How is this place, right? So if you want to see that type of content, make sure you tap in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that type of stuff. I got you. I'm going to be doing the hard work for you while you're back in the States, while you're back in Canada, the UK, whatever home country you're in, and you're stacking that money. So by the time you're ready to go, you already have done your research, because you know, hey, PayMeInPaella, he's lived in Spain. He's lived in Asia. He lived in all these different places. He interacted with all these people. Based off his interactions and what I see online and what my belief system is, I may like Thailand. I may like Brazil. I may like South Africa. I may like Morocco. I'm going to be doing the work for you. If you are interested in potentially giving some information as well, doing a video with me, etc., let me know. I use the same name on Instagram, all that stuff. Peace.